There's something magical about the way Brent Faiyaz music feels. Atmospheric, ethereal, but also rich in emotion and soul. Songs like All Mine and Heal Your Heart have this captivating blend of warm chords, ambient textures, and subtle details, crafted by producers like DJ Dahi, Jordan Ware, and Nascent. But how do you capture that same vibe with your own samples? Whether you're looking to elevate your samples or just add more depth and character, these techniques will help you create samples that truly stand out. In this video, I'm going to break down what makes Brent Faiyaz sound so distinctive, from his use of lush chords and textures, to some lesser known techniques and plugins that will give your samples that unique touch. And I'm going to walk you through 2 samples that I've made that will capture that vibe. So let's get straight into it. So this first sample is actually taken from my brand new sample pack, Soulful Volume 1, which you can check out in the link in the description. And if you use the code BEATLOAF20, you can get 20% off that. So this sample started off with a simple chord progression, which I played on Sky keys on this kind of pad-like synth. And to make it a little bit more interesting, instead of playing triad chords, I play some sevenths and some ninths just to give it that kind of soulful vibe that you get in R&B. Then I played around with the voicings of the chords. Rearranging the notes so they'd flow a little bit more smoothly with less movement between the chords. It's a really subtle thing to do, but it adds different tones to your chords, and I think it can really make your samples stand out. So next up, after the chords were done, I wanted to add a vocal idea. So I looped the chords and just freestyled a few ideas until I found something that I was happy with, chopped that up into a loop that I liked. Ooh. 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 However, once I had that, I wasn't really feeling the tone of my voice. And to me, it felt like a higher female register would probably fit better with the sample. So in this case, there's a little trick that I learned recently. I use a site called voiceswap.ai, which lets you transform your vocals with different artist styles. And I think this is perfect for anyone who isn't like confident in singing. You can just sing your idea, maybe put a little bit of auto-tune on it, and then put it through this website or other similar websites, and it will keep your ideas, but obviously it will give you it in a different voice. So on the website, I tried a few different ones until I found some that I liked, and I wanted to get 2 different voices so I could layer them. And here's what those 2 sounded like together with some effects on them. And that's pretty much it for the A section. There was only 2 layers, keeping it nice and simple. For the B section, I took that vocal and I layered it with a synth from Sky Keys. And then I bounced and reversed both of them to create this really trippy effect. I then layered that with a piano playing the same chords as the pad. And next up was the bass, and I wanted to play this in live this time, so I used my viola bass just to give it that live feel. Then I wanted to add a little bit of rhythm, so I got this egg shaker loop, really subtle in the background. And finally, to top it off, I added this lead sound, really heavily reverbed in the background, just to add a little bit of character. And then just to glue the sample together a little bit, I wanted to add some ear candy or some transitions. So there's a few of those in there, some from East West and also a little cymbal roll. And then moving on to the C section, I wanted to change up the bass. So I added this kind of Reese style bass that you'd find in drum and bass, which is a more sustained bass line. And I used this amazing bass plugin called Sublab XL for that. And I layered that with a Dreamy pad from the stock Logic plugin Alchemy, which for me is a completely underrated plugin. And then the final thing was a xylophone from Sky Keys, which added that little sparkle on top. And then once we put all of that together, this is what we get. So for the second sample, I wanted to take a different approach. I actually started it off as a beat with the intention of flipping it into a sample later on. So first of all, I grabbed this incredible drum loop from Mario Luciano just as the foundation. And next I wanted to bring some live guitar, and I played these chords and I layered them with two lead lines. One which was panned to the left, one to the right, just to widen the sound. And then I added one more lead line on the guitar just to add a kind of call and response to that initial line. And then I layered that with a Scarby Rickenbacker bass, giving it that warm, kind of grounded feel. And although I thought this was really cool and it's got a lot of potential on its own, I wanted something a little bit more ambient. So I bounced it out and reversed it, and it created this really nice warp texture that actually probably could work on its own as a sample. However, I did add a few other bits to it. I decided to filter out the low end a little bit so I could add a new bass line, again with Scarby Rickenbacker. And for some extra character, I wanted to add like a lead or a vocal sound. So again, I just improvised, recorded a few vocal melodies in, and I pitched those up an octave with Little Altar Boy. That's just because I didn't want too much going on in the mid-range where the vocalist was going to be. So by putting that up an octave, it's much higher in the register and it's not getting in the way of what the vocalist is doing. And then this is the cool bit. I decided to process this with a plugin called Magenta DDSP. It's a plugin that uses AI models to turn your audio signals into different instruments. So for my vocals, there's so many different options I can choose from: a violin, bassoon, a flute. It doesn't always sound perfect like the instrument you're going for, but it adds some crazy textures and really, really unique sounds, which is definitely worth messing about with. This is what that sounded like when it was processed. And then finally I added a pad sound from Sky Keys just to tie it all together. And it's a pretty simple sample overall, but sometimes those are the best ones. You don't want to try and overcomplicate and have too much going on, or the vocalist or whoever's flipping it won't know what to do with it. So that's it for this one. I hope you got some new ideas for creating soulful, atmospheric sounds for your samples. And if you're looking for more inspiration, you can download my new pack, Soulful Volume 1, from the link in my description. Like I said before, you can use the code BEATLOAF20 and you get 20% off that. And if you haven't yet, grab the free pack from my site to start experimenting straight away. Plus, if you want to connect, get feedback and share your samples with other producers, I've just started my own Discord. I'm hoping to build a community full of friendly producers and musicians. So if you want to join that, again, the link is in the description. And I hope to see some of you there. And finally, if you like these videos, be sure to subscribe. And if there's any producers or artists or topics you want me to cover in future videos, just let me know in the comments.